Okay, thank you, Rosalin, for joining us on Musical Instability. Welcome to the show, and I really appreciate you taking the time to be on this show. Uh, we are going to talk about dyslexia today.
Yes.
So, first of all, tell us a bit about yourself, what you do, and all those things before we get into the heart of the subject.
All right. Thank you so much for having me. I call you my big sister, Farida. So I'm so excited to hang out with you today. And I feel this is an important topic and what you're doing. God bless you for all that you're doing. My name is Rosalin Abigail Trenate. And I work as a hospitality consultant. That is mainly my job. Basically, what I do is to give advisory services to hospitality entities across the world. So I do businesses in Ghana, parts of other African countries, and also Europe and in America. My company, which is IQ Mundo, we specialize in hospitality consulting and education. But recently, I just found a new baby, which is Africa Dyslexia Organization, championing awareness, advocacy, and giving support to people with dyslexia. So that's what I found myself doing now.
And you look very excited about this your new baby. In fact, more excited than your normal job.
I I tell you, like everybody, some of my clients who know me well and have been following also the Africa Dyslexia Organization, everybody think this is like the reason why I am on earth. And probably the Lord just used the hospitality path to prepare me for this journey. And because they feel the sparkle in my eyes when I'm talking about it, and they know that I'm passionate about hospitality, but they're telling me it's different when I'm talking about the newborn organization, Africa Dyslexia Organization. I'm like, the Lord should just use me whichever way He wants.
When you find your calling, it is no longer a job, it is a passion.
Yeah.
And I always tell people, if you are lucky enough to find why you are on this earth, pursue it.
Yes.
Because then you derive that joy from whatever it is
Exactly.
you do. So
I
why
agree.
so why is dyslexia? I mean, why did you found the organization? I mean, I know
Okay.
I know a bit about your background, but for the sake of my viewers who don't know much about you.
Okay.
Mhm.
So I mean, I am somebody who grew up not being able to read at to a very late stage. So I could even go on that as far as probably in my 20s, I still struggle to read. And even to date, Farida, I still struggle to read. I still struggle to process information to compared to the normal person. I still really struggle. But going back to when I was young, I would be called like, you are lazy, you are stupid, you are dumb, good for nothing, just because I go to school and academically I do not perform. And so I will be the student who always like sits at the back of the class, always receive all the lashes because invitations, I'll get zero. In exams, I will get zero. I'm always at the bottom. And so even for my parents, they started giving up on me. Like, you wasting a lot of resources and you're not studying, Rosalin. So it was all about you not performing. You come home because we lived in a compound house at that time, and we had other young children over there who could read, could write. They were performance in school. But for me, no. The only thing I was interested in is when we are doing extracurricular activity like going on an excursion or going for sports. That is the time you find me being so happy. But it was really hard for me because imagine a young girl that you can't perform, you are in your teens and you still cannot even read. And you go to school and they pick up on you and all that. So for me, the school was like a hell place to me. But I didn't also have a choice to stop the school because of my dad is in education. So it wasn't a choice for me. I had to continue going to the school. But one of the very notable things that happened in my life when I was around the age of 17, almost turning 18, I was still in GSS 3. And you and I know that GSS 3, you probably will be around 14 or 15. And at my age, 17, 18, I should be finishing high school, but I was still in GSS. So that should tell you how bad my situation was. My mates at that time, my best friend was even like 13-year-old when she finished GHS. But in GHS, I was in a school where it was a preparatory school in Suhum. And it's very, very good school. And I was part of them. We got to GSS 3. Basically, they were pushing me for the school because of my age. It wasn't because I passed the exams and they have to promote me. But in GSS 3, the school called my parents and told them that your child is a non-performer. Unfortunately, we cannot add her to register for the BEC as part of our year group. The reason is she will bring down our score. And therefore, unfortunately, if you think she's getting out of age, then take her to a school in a village somewhere and go and register her. And it's true, I was turning 18 already. And so my parents decided like, yes, we search for a school in the village for me to register for them. So I went, we registered, and on the day of the BEC, I mean, I've studied with this group of people whom I've known for years. But on the day of the BEC, I traveled and went to this village to meet students that I've never met in my life before from another town to write exams with. So just imagine as a young girl at that age in my teens, and I have to go through that experience. I don't think any of my family or even the school I went to who suggested that to my parents thought about the damage or the negative impact that was going to have on me. And I remember sitting in the BC exams crying because I can't even recognize the stuff I was seeing on the paper. But lo and behold, I wrote the exams and it came out and it's true. I failed. I got grade 31. I got grade 31. So the school was right. If they had added me, because that school is known of producing 6-1 students, if they had added me, I was going to bring down their score indeed. But I felt like that was a terrible experience that I went through. Fast forward, the result came, I had gotten this poor marks. So definitely going to a secondary school wasn't in the question. Which school is going to admit you with such a grade? And so everybody was like, go learn maybe how to do hair or do how to sew clothes. It's not like today that you hear about hairstyling or fashion and it's very, very attractive. But before, if they suggest to you to go on that path, it's like you've been casted out. So I was lucky. I had a friend who was trying to teach me how to read and write. At that time, Evan Sakoto, who was the one who spotted in me that, no, I don't think you should go to do any hair or something, but tell your parents you will go to a vocational school. And I was like, what am I going to do in a vocational school? So no, I know you can cook. You're very, very good cook. When we come to your house, you're able to cook very nice and all that. Your parent, your aunts don't live here, but you're always cooking for yourself. So you had that play, go into catering. And that's how I enrolled into catering school in Koforidua. Now, when I took the prospectus to my dad, that I've gotten admission to go. He didn't even, at first, he didn't want to take me because, one, it is expensive to go to a catering school in this country because you do practicals almost every week. And so he was furious that, am I going to waste another resource? But of course, at the long run, he agreed that let me take her to the vocational school. And I remember we got to the vocational school and my dad told the proprietor that I'm bringing my daughter to the school. I don't have any expectation of her. Just allow her to move through the school, and that is it. And so already he has put in some words in the minds of the teachers and the school owners already. So all the time their eyes was on me, in a negative way, because they feel like, oh, this is a stubborn girl, she doesn't like to learn and all that. But when he left me, that was where a miracle, for me, it was like a miracle started happening. But now that I'm an adult and I understand learning differences and I understand also what was wrong with me, I recognize and I admire and appreciate the environment that the vocational school gave me. Basically, I was looking for something that was different from the normal teaching method we use in teaching. So my mind works in pictures. And it's also hands-on and practical. So when it became catering, I started picking up, because if you tell me that carrots, I can actually pick a carrot and see carrot in its physical form. If you tell me to measure 1 gram of flour, I know and I can feel and I can see the flour, and I can actually transform it into something that is beautiful and edible. So coupled with this and my prayers to always like, Lord, let me read, let me be able to read and write, I started my mind started shifting up. Now the term ended and Daddy came to pick me up. And he was called by the school and asked, is this same the daughter of yours that you said cannot, you don't have any expectation for? He said, yes. But look at her results. She is performing. And so my dad was even shocked and said, are you sure this is her result? And the proprietor said, yes, this is her result. She can't copy anybody. So for me, that's praise that the woman said, look at her performing. I mean, meant a lot to me, because it was like the first time in my life where I have heard something positive about me when it comes to my academic work. And so when I went home, I decided that I'm going to continue this. I'm never going to give up. I have found my path, and I'm going to do everything possible to make sure I succeed with this learning. And so I went through the school for 3 years. I finished hoping to become a cook, but then as how God have aligned stuff, through that, I started working at Fiesta Royal, which was then Crystal Royal Hotel, and gradually found my path into hospitality and started with hospitality studies at IMPA, and now where I am today. So coming back to the question as to why I even started Africa Dyslexia Organization, I don't know if you remember, but years back when we were at Lancaster University and I was talking about my experience with reading and all that. And after that, you said that, no, Rosalin, I think you may be dyslexic or something. I asked, what is that? What is dyslexia? And all that. So when I heard that, when you told me that, for me, you know how I respect you and cherish you all the time. So I put down that face like, oh yes, and everything. But at the back of my mind, I was like, oh my God, dyslexia. It sounds like a disease. And therefore, I had enough troubles in my life already growing up with all these learning challenges, and you are mentioning dyslexia. I don't even want to know what dyslexia is. I don't want to know. So I locked up my mind, and that was it. But when I went to school in Switzerland, it came up again. I met a second person who was like, I think you are dyslexic. And I was like, no, this is not my first time hearing, because Farida has mentioned dyslexia to me. And I was like, okay, you know what? Whether it's a disease or not a disease, let me start reading about dyslexia. So as I was reading, it was like, it was describing me. Every difficulty I have. Do you find it hard reading? Yes. Struggle to pronounce words? Yes. Do you find it comfortable reading loud in public? Yes. Do you find it uncomfortable forming or processing information? Like, it was endless. And I was like, oh my God. So this was what Farida was talking about all the time. And that was the moment I embraced it. Let me have a professional assessment, because I read that for you to determine, you can have all the sciences, but for you to determine that you are actually a dyslexic, you need to have assessment done. So I had the assessment done, and it was so tough doing that assessment. And when the results came, I still didn't believe that it's me, and that what is talking like dyslexia, I actually have it. I think I was finding a struggle. You know, you shouldn't also think like maybe I don't pick up stuff, but this is a child who has experienced so much negativity growing up. And so anything that is not positive that is coming my way again, I try to block it. And so that was how my emotions were blocking it. So even though I had this report in my hand, I still didn't believe that I had it. And so I came to Ghana one time, and I was just there, and it just hit me. And I was like, no, I need a second opinion on this. I need a second opinion. I need to find a Ghanaian assessor who can actually do it for me. So I started reaching up for a psychiatrist, that's what they call them, and finally landed one at the Rich Hospital. And so this lady, her name is Mora, took me through the same sequence of tests again. As a matter of fact, she said that she doesn't have to do the resources or the things to do for adults like my age, but she has up to 13-year-old. And I was like, please, just use it on me. Let's do it and see. At least you can pick up whether I am or not. I want a confirmation. So we spent hours going through this assessment, and it was tough. And she couldn't believe that with somebody who have a master's, even using assessment for young age as that, on me, I was still having it, I was still struggling to really find my way. So that moment she was like, you know what, just accept it, that you are dyslexic. And I'm dyslexic too. So she told me she's dyslexic, and that's the reason why she even went into the career she's in, to help people. And so when she advised me and everything, it started comforting me. I came back home and I was like, no, I'm not going to tell anybody that it's dyslexia, that is what is wrong with me. But one time I was hit by my past, and I was like, no, if all these moments and I have gone all this way, and I remember the only person who believed in me was a young guy who was just a year older than I am, who saw a potential in me and told me that, no, I think you are good for something. And I don't believe anything people say about you, that you're not good for anything. Therefore, pursue this. Then how much more somebody like me, who has a living experience and a testimony to say that, yes, it was hard. I couldn't read, and even still today, there are things I can't read, but it's still possible that you can have life. Then why are you not creating awareness on it? And secondly, my dad was in education. He just came on pension for years, like 40 years. And he didn't know what was wrong with me. He didn't even pick up that there are learning differences that people go through, and it's a disability that they have to look at and give support. So I'm just imagining how many students of my kind that passed through somebody like my dad's life, but my dad couldn't really detect that they might need help and they are also somebody. And how many people in our schools, because I went through a lot of schools, I was changing schools, but no teacher picked it up. That means we are damaging people. We are writing people off when we could have just made a little change to maybe the start of teaching and learning for them, and we could have achieved a purpose. So if that is the case, then I need to start talking about what dyslexia is about for people to start knowing about it. And so last year, October, I put down an article on what every parent to know about dyslexia. I got some appointments on medias and did an interview with some of them. Farida, if I tell you the calls that came through, to date, I still receive emails since October from parents who are like, oh my God, you are describing my child. Oh my God, this is my child you're talking about. I thought my child has been bewitched. I thought my child is this.
The poor witches. Eh? Everything in Africa, we blame the witches.
Exactly. Exactly. But it is so sad. Like a parent is like, I beat my child all the time when he gets his work wrong and he became last in the school, and you realize how ignorant society is. You realize how ignorant even our education system is. And then I asked myself, no, you got to do something. It's not just sitting in your corner and writing one article and just going to talk on media one day and stopping everything. You need a continuum something. And that's how I started building the Africa Dyslexia Organization. I just started this COVID time since I came home, and of course, hospitality is down. So I have high time on my hand, and of course I'm like, let me utilize my time by initiating this organization to bring awareness, advocacy, and support to people with dyslexia. And hopefully we can hopefully my agenda is to call on the Ministry of Education so we can have a system change in our education system, because a lot of people are being cut out by no fault of theirs, but it's just because their brains and minds function in a different way. And so we need to encourage that and promote and keep talking about it, and also giving support. There are challenges in Ghana here. I mean, since I started this, apart from Accra that I know, if you're in Bolga or Tamale or Sunyani or something, and you even want to assess your child on dyslexia and other learning differences, you don't have anywhere to go. Our schools are not equipped and resourced to accommodate such students. So already I'm facing challenges, but I'm not going to stop. I will keep on going.
Well done, well done, well done. I'm so proud of you. Honestly, I forgot, I completely forgot that I spoke to you about dyslexia years ago. So what you're saying is like news to me, but I'm happy that although it took you a long time to accept it, you finally accepted it. Because I always say that once you accept your limitations or you accept what you have, it doesn't mean you will not try and push, but it also means that you are aware that you are not like everybody else. So your parameters are different from others. Now let me
Yeah.
ask a specific question about dyslexia, because I really don't know that much about it. But from what I have read, it is more of when you read, you don't understand the words, or you cannot form the words and all those things, right?
Mhm.
So how about the mathematical subjects? Are you okay with them? Because
No, I'm
no.
not. I don't even know math at all. Like if I'm sitting down, you just come and ask me what is 3 times 7, I probably will struggle before I can come out with an answer. I need a calculator. So basically, but that doesn't have to do with dyslexia. So dyslexia is more of around reading, writing, and processing information. And it's a neural condition, which kind of it's like your mind is designed in a different way to process information and see things in a different total concepts. And there are a lot of dyslexic people that are around, some that are passed on and some that are still living. For example, somebody like Albert Einstein was a dyslexic, Richard Branson is a dyslexic, Princess Beatrice is a dyslexic. In Ghana here, I've heard somebody like Nana Kwao Ansa, which is Miss Giftianti's husband, saying he's dyslexic. 2 days ago, I watched Denta, who is saying she's dyslexic and she's still living with it. There are a couple of people, Papa Duncan Williams says he's dyslexic. So even people are dyslexic, but they don't know. So dyslexia can affect up to like between 10-15% of every population, but people do not know when the awareness is not there. And that's why since I started raising the awareness, even I've had adults who have inboxed me or called me and say that, no, I think I am dyslexic too. With what you're describing, I go through the same, but I didn't know that it's actually a condition or something that can bother somebody. So we have dyslexia, and it's adult-related learning differences like dyspraxia, dyscalculia, and dyscalculia is what comes with the mathematics. So for me, I have only done assessments for dyslexia, but I haven't done assessments for dyscalculia yet. But I tick all the boxes of what dyscalculia tells you that you are. I'm also, when I write something for you, you probably cannot read. I have to be very intentional. And that means I will, if I want to write for you to really see my handwriting, I will have to spend a lot of time, taking a lot of time to really write down the words for you to see. And that comes into dysgraphia. So that means poor handwriting, like you can't even understand what the person has written down. So we have that one. Then we have dyspraxia as well. So we have different other learning differences. But it doesn't mean that it affects your intelligence. As a matter of fact, we also have average IQ like anybody else, or even very high IQ. And if you realize when you go to places like Silicon Valley and stuff, they employ a lot of people with dyslexia and all those things because they feel like their mind works in a different context. So for instance, I have this water bottle here, and I probably, how you see it, I see it in different ways. And I can come up with 10 different concepts as to how we can design this bottle. That is how my mind works. So my mind is always producing ideas. My mind is always daydreaming. I daydream all the time, where I probably will see myself in a helicopter doing something like this. So that's how my mind is always working. But when it comes to reading, learning, sitting down and doing something, oh my goodness, no, I'm not good at it. So even in office, when I work, the maximum will be like 30 minutes. I need to stand up. I need to walk around. I need to do something to distract my mind. My mind is already tired. And that is how dyslexia is.
Wow. That is a whole different word for some of us. Some of us, we can sit behind a rest for 4 hours straight and not get up. But it's very interesting. Very interesting because I feel that we need this mix so that everybody is not one way. So
exactly,
because we need that variety in society, because there are lots of things that you can do that I can do, and there are things that I can do that you can do. And once
Exactly.
we are able to recognize our strengths and our weaknesses, then we can complement each other. So, as you are saying, it's a question of recognizing, especially when it comes to the educational system, that there are children who are different. I mean, I have a
Exactly.
terrible handwriting because of my disability, obviously. When I had to write my BC, I had to be given extra time so that I could take my time and write. And and I mean, we all have our different challenges and all those things. But once you're able to recognize that these are my challenges, what tools do I need to be able to survive in society and become a, a, a purposeful human being and a useful human being to society? Then you go out and try and acquire those tools and get the help that you need, because I mean I always say that the most, I think, for those of us with some of these challenges, one of the
Mhm.
most difficult things that that we have is asking for help,
Exactly.
because because
Exactly.
because we need help, help, help,
Exactly.
help most of the time. When you have to ask for it, it becomes more difficult than the average person. So people are like,
It's
but if you need help, just ask. What's the big deal? But I always
no.
say that, look, it's not that simple. It's not that simple.
Yeah, it's not. It's not that simple. Like for me, especially me with dyslexia, that nobody can even see the effect on
Yeah,
me.
exactly.
So when you go and sit on a board and you they ask you to like take a minute. I mean, for me, if you take me to take a minute on a board, I probably will stop my engagement, because I'm not the best person you will ask to take a minute. And if you tell them that, oh no, I can't, I'm dyslexic and all that, and they don't understand, they find it very weird to give you assistance, because they're like, what is wrong with this girl? Is it that she doesn't know what she's supposed to do, or what? So
Yeah,
it is, I agree, it is so difficult asking for help. And especially for somebody like me too. I'm dyslexic, but my mind, I know exactly the thing I want. And when I tell the person who is assisting me, and they are not able to produce the finest of what I'm looking for, it frustrates me. And now I sit down and I'm like, I'm sweating, and you are always calling for assistance, and it's not easy, but people don't just get it. It's not easy as that.
yeah. It can be quite frustrating when people do not understand what you are asking for. It's like
It's,
it's as if you are speaking a different language, and there's a communication barrier between you and the other person. So how
yeah,
so
yeah.
what do you what tools do you use to cope in the work environment? Because
Okay.
obviously
So
you
for me, even with school, back in the days, I'm sure my teachers will beat me now when they hear. But what I was doing, even at GIMP, I always had a recorder on me. I was recording all my lectures, because they talk too fast, one. They teach too long, which bothers me. And so I was recording almost all the lectures. And these, even my mates didn't know. So I would come home and replay. And that is where I would take my time and really do. Now, there is an iPad I use, and I use something called Notability. So Notability, I can sit in a meeting and just put on the recording, and it will be recording almost everything to me. And then I'll come and take my time, and then just get the audio and then transcribe it. Use somebody to transcribe, or transcribe it in any way that can help me. Another thing that I use that is really helpful is Glamoury. So it's also something that you can install, subscribe to, that can be correcting your grammars and all that. Even though I have access to it, I still don't like it. I don't like to type. I don't like to send emails. I don't like to I just basically don't like to read and to write stuff. audio books wise, I use audiobooks. So recently I subscribed to one called Scribed, which is very, very good. But it's also very expensive for how many people will be able to afford $8, 8.8, like $9 every month. But that's what I use. So I get all kinds of books that I really use. Then another thing that is helping now, since I became aware that I'm dyslexic, because in Gimpa time, I didn't know I had dyslexia. I just knew that I'm a student who struggles to read. So since I became aware that I'm dyslexic, what I do is I make sure that people get to know about my challenges. So I don't like working in a noisy environment. I don't like also being in a very bright area. So I make sure that whichever workplace that I am, I communicate my challenges for them to understand. And I think since I found out that I'm dyslexic, I have also found myself in environments that people, even if they don't understand, they recognize disabilities. And so they are able to accommodate you. For instance, Disney, a fantastic place that if I tell my boss I'm dyslexic, they don't worry me with tasks that will really kind of depress me or make things difficult for me. There was one task that every manager have to be doing. You have to be entering payroll for people and all that. I told them, listen, it's either you give me that and people don't get paid, or I use the company to pay people more. And so I never did the payroll. I never entered the cast members hours for them to get paid, because they knew that it was a challenge and nobody really worried me. They gave me the strength. They knew that I'm very good with guests. I have interpersonal skills. I'm able to see the things that the result is able to improve on our service. So I was working as a guest experience manager. So all I do is come up with ideas that will help the hotel operations all the time, interact with guests, solve guest issues for them. That is my strength. Give me that and let my colleague who is very good in writing reports write you the reports. It's a balance. I wonder how it will feel if I'm working in Ghana. I don't really know, because I work for myself. So that is also the conversation to have around that. Dyslexia or other learning differences and other disabilities, it's not just when you're a child, but you probably live with it all your life. And so even in our workplaces, there are people that we sometimes look down and be like, oh, this person, if you give the person a job, they won't even do a good job for you. But have you taken the interest to really understand their challenge? To know that this person that we've been given this particular job that is not performing, what other jobs are they good at in the workplace? So these are conversations to have to really know people's needs, because people have things that they are not aware of it, that they really have it. So I use those softwares, Glamoury, I use Scribe, that's my audio book. I use Notability. I do screen this thing, voice recorder, so it's like a speech to text and text to speech software as well. Microsoft have one embedded as well, so I use all those things to help me kind of go my way around. And I just write, I try to minimize everything that I really do. So if I have to send email and it has to be 1 page long or something, I just try as much as possible to keep my message in a very concise manner, short, simple, well explained. And that's how I've been managing my work life and my life with this disability. But it's hard. It is very, very, very hard, because for me, it's not like I'm dealing with this alone, but then I'm also dealing with low self-confidence. Because remember, when I was young, my confidence was damaged by the people who told me I'm lazy, I'm dumb, I'm stupid, XYZ. It was damaged. And I realized it was damaged as I grow up. I realized that it's damaged. So I'm doing a lot of repairs all the time. So this is why somebody will call you that, hey, come and speak or do something at my program. and I still guess myself and be like, can I do it? I remember when I had a job at Disney and I was going, I'm like, am I going to fit in? Am I going to be able to perform? But I know the thing. That's what I've studied for the past 15 years and I've been working with. But I still question myself if I will be good at, just because they have always told me you are not good.
I like what you said, because what you tell a child at an early age has an effect on the child as they grow
Yes.
older. Because using myself as an example, I was brought up to believe that I could do anything. So I have a lot of confidence. That people ask me that, where do you get that confidence from? And I'm like, well, I wasn't brought up to believe that that there's nothing that I can't do. So
Yeah.
I find myself in situations and I'm like, oh my God, how did I get here? I remember
Yeah.
I remember the first day I went. So what happened was, when I was going to go to university in the UK, I had to convince my parents, my mother, that I'll be all right on my own. I mean, because she was just going to leave me there and come back to Ghana, and it took a lot of convincing. So I remember the first day she left me in my room, in my flat. I went home, and I was she went back to the flat where she was staying for a few days before she came back to Ghana. And I remember being in the room alone and saying to myself, Manefa, what have you done? What have you gotten yourself into? So after all that I had gone through to get here, there was no way I could tell her that, oh, I can't manage it. So I want to go back home. So I had to find a way of surviving. And I think when when the chips are down, and you realize that it is only you and your God, you find a way to survive, no matter what situation you are in.
Exactly. Exactly.
And
I
what,
totally.
and what you also said about recording your lectures, I actually did that when I was in university, because like you, I have a problem writing, so I couldn't write the notes and things very fast. So I took it for one or two lectures, and I realized that no, it's not going to work. So I just made sure that I absorbed as much as I could during the lecture. Then I did a lot of reading. I read a lot of the books and things, because I also had challenges writing and taking notes and all those things. And
Exactly.
it's very interesting the way the brain works, because I mean, I also have some challenges when it comes to certain aspects of doing things, like 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 if I'm in a room with a lot of people and they're all talking, I can't concentrate. So I don't like large groups. I like small groups.
Me too.
So because when there are two or three people, it's fine. When there are when there are more than five people, then there's too much noise. There's too much information to absorb. There's too much, I don't know, chaos in my mind. So it's like I cannot deal, deal with all that noise. But there are other
Right.
people who just really being in large groups and all those things. And
Yeah.
we are all different. And and the most important thing is that you find what works for you and what doesn't work for you. So
Exactly.
for me, for instance, if I don't go to practice for that reason, because I don't see the point in being in a large group of people.
I don't like practice either.
Yeah, and not being comfortable with other people. If it's a small group, fine, but a large
Yes.
party where there are lots of people and you have to move from this group to the other and all those, and it doesn't work for me. So
Absolutely.
And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with realizing that, okay, I'm not a party person, I'm not a club person.
Exactly.
This is who I am. And the sooner you accept yourself, the sooner other people will accept you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. The sooner you accept yourself, the sooner other people will accept you. And that is the reason why parents that I'm dealing with when it comes to dyslexia now, some of the parents are having it very hard to accept the fact that their children are dyslexic. These are parents that have actually assessed their children and they've been confirmed that they have dyslexia. But because of stigmatization and stuff, these parents are finding it hard to accept it. But like you said, if you don't accept it, then who will accept you anyway? And all that. So I hope to keep doing what we're doing here to see how far we go. But I believe somebody gets to do something, and I'm happy that I responded to a call like that, and I'm hoping that in the near beautiful future we'll be touching many lives in Ghana and across Africa. That is my home.
So are you going to be doing seminars to train teachers and all those things? I mean, what
Yes,
is the plan? Are you
yes.
going?
So the plan is to run workshops, seminars to call on Ministry of Education, especially because we want them to know and recognize. Because I read the Inclusive Education Act that was published in, it's a policy that was published in 2013, and they have it there, but I really don't know what they're doing. For instance, I'm in contact with somebody who is like somebody who gives help to students of such, and this is one person who is managing 4 cluster of schools, and she goes there 2 days. She goes to each school like 2 days in a week or something like that. Like she scheduled her distance around the 5 working days. And you can imagine one person being in these schools giving such support to students with such needs. What impact would that make? We have 16 regions now. It is high time the government realize and recognize that it's a need, and also provide other assessment centers in our school. I have a feeling like in every region or every district education office should have a psychometric there who can assess, and every school should have a teacher who is specialized in special education to give assistance to such students. That is the only way we'll change things. And it is high time, because a lot of these dyslexia, dysgraphia people are very handsome people. It is also high time that the government emphasize a lot and put in resources to our vocational and technical schools. Because for me, that is where I found myself. And it is hard that in Ghana, when people see you going to such schools, they say that, oh, because because you are underperformer, that's why you go to
Yeah.
vocational and technical school. But for me, when we were in Gampa, the students that were very good were even students who were coming from the polytechnics, because they teach them in a way that is so different from the normal stream. And so we need to relook at some of these things. So we are looking at, yes, training, workshop, calling on government to really make a change, and also offering mentorship. We will have online courses for teachers and parents. We will organize dyslexia conference in Ghana, across Africa. So we have a lot of activities that are planned. I mean, next month is Dyslexia Awareness Month, and I have a whole
Really?
lineup of, yes. So I have a whole lineup of activities, and I'm calling on media houses to give opportunity to you, Farida, give opportunity to me, for us to discuss things that really can help improve. I mean, we are not far from the SDG. I think it's left with 9 years or so, and I don't even know what they have done about reduce inequality, which is the theme, and then the quality of education. I don't know what they have done, if they are achieving. And if Ghana is going to be well positioned on that, then they need to listen to what some of us are saying and really put it into action. Because it's easy to talk, but the action is what is it's important.
I always say that if the government instituted inclusive education with the same passion and zeal that that they instituted the free SHS, will be far ahead. So it's a matter
Exactly.
it's a matter of priority. If they can do free SHS, they can do inclusive education.
Exactly. They can easily do it. They can easily do it. It's just I don't know, but hopefully we keep talking and they can hear. But the way we rolled out free SHS is the same manner they will be able to put in inclusiveness in all aspects. And even when you take on that mandate, that is where you can emphasize and say that, hey, workplaces recognize these disabilities, recognize this, so that you don't go to the Accra malls and it's after they're building the malls or the buildings in different places before they think about putting a disabled friendly unit or somewhere. I mean, it's an afterthought. Never should it be an afterthought.
Yeah. I say that about time we became part of the part of a government priorities and not their corporate social responsibility, because we are always treated like the corporate social responsibility, something uh,
Yeah,
that after all is done, then let's look at those with special needs. So
exactly.
yeah, but one thing that I always tell people is that disability does not discriminate. That is one of the
No,
most undiscriminatory things. Or it can happen to anybody's child
anybody.
at,
Yeah,
at any time in your life. I mean, so you shouldn't
yeah.
think, so you shouldn't sit down and think that, oh, as for you, dear, you are not, you are sorted, cry, you don't have any problem. So it's not your problem. It is everybody's problem. And
It
the
is everybody.
and the same
Yeah.
with dyslexia. Dyslexia, although I don't have it, I will do what I can if I find one of my employees has it, to make sure that he has
Exactly. And I
a
mean, we
good
all
working environment.
exactly. And we all went to school with the students who you. I feel like every class had a student who wasn't performing in the school, and
Yes,
we all felt that, oh, who do you bon pa? We
exactly.
all felt like that. Huh.
Exactly.
And some of them have fell into the drain. I mean, I was in class with some of them, and you hear about them and say, oh, that girl, she went on and now she has given birth to 5 children living in a village. Or, oh, that guy, he's a trotro mate or something. And I, Rosalin, could have been one of them. Seriously, Farida, I could have been one of them. It was just by the slim grace of God. And also for somebody paying attention to what the Lord tells him to say that, no, talk to this girl. And this girl will listen. That has made me to be here to even be speaking through this technology with you. I would have probably been in a village somewhere that I don't even know how a laptop worked before. So it is doable. We can change people's life. It is doable. And we are wasting some of the brilliant minds we could have had. Somebody has a disability. And so what? So you write them off. But do you know what the person could have created for Ghana? And so we need to keep on saying it.
Rosalind, thank you so much. It has been a great joy talking to you, and I hope we will have another conversation about this again. And for my viewers, if you want to ask Rosalind any questions on dyslexia, please write it in the comment below. I'm sure she'll gladly answer, and reach out to her directly. Thank you, and
Yes.
God bless you all. And have
Thank
a
you so
lovely day.
much.
You're welcome. Bye bye.
Thank you so much. Bye bye.